problem with Li? Li is holding things stiffly, using the, let's say, using the muscles to bind the bones into a rigid fragment. That was Chairman Ching's line. I thought it was very, very well put. And so what's the result? No change at the joints, at the gates, they're so-called, you know. So no circulation of qi, because it's blocked at the gates. Okay. But the problem is lack of change. It isn't what produced the lack of change. It's the lack of change. Anything that produces lack of change has the same end result. It blocks the qi. So stagnancy is simply saying, I'll be as passive as possible on all of my movements. I'll like say, okay, I'll use exactly the minimum amount of strength to stand up. And then, you know, like the minimum, so everything looks like I'm like this 1,000-year-old man, you know, who hasn't eaten his Wheaties, and I'm just really, you know, out of it. But this has sort of now become a badge of like correct practice. It's like this is your skill to like look as stagnant as possible in a sense. So the thing is, you've got to remove stagnancy with change. Without Chen Tzu Jing, what is the change? It's very hard to put a piece, you know, to put change into these extremely subtle movements, right? The only way to do it is to have these winding movements and have them be very deliberate and very, you know, very extreme in terms of what you would actually do if you were fighting. The point of this is, if you can't shape yourself without at the same time blocking the waves going through the body, then you will never accomplish the purpose. So you have two jobs. One is to make these shapes. The other is to eliminate Li. Now the reason I haven't mentioned stagnancy is because when people actually are super stagnant, they don't actually make the correct shapes. They make shapes that look more like, you know, this. But the actual shape has to have consciousness of the Chen Tzu Jing. Now you use the Chen Tzu Jing to inform yourself.